And, oop, I gotta create that pen. Okay, I got 6. Ready? Okay. I call to order the Bold School Board Organization meeting here on Wednesday, January 3rd at 6:00 PM. Roll call, we have a quorum of 5 members present. With that, can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, right before we approve the agenda here, I want to read the mission statement. Our mission of the Bold School District is to provide all learners in the Bold community an education designed to develop the creativity, character, confidence, and skills essential to flourish in a changing global society. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved by member Bowen and seconded by member Benson to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Okay, with that, then we'll move to vote on approving the agenda. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose? Same sign. Motion carries to approve the agenda. Okay, thank you to those attending here in person and online. We appreciate your participation in the Bold School District and the school board meetings, so thank you. So the next item we'll move on to will be 5, and that's election of our board officers for the upcoming year, term starting tonight through the next organizational meeting. So with that, I will entertain a motion for a nomination for chairperson.
I nominate Todd Frank.
Okay, is there any other nominations? We don't need seconds for nominations, by the way. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Okay, hearing no more nominations, we have one person, myself, nominated to serve as chair this upcoming year. We can either vote or a person could make a motion to cease nominations, cease, and to cast a unanimous ballot. Either one could be done. What did you guys want to do?
Potato, potato.
Yeah, it is. Either way.
Let's just vote.
Okay. So, all in favor of member Frank serving as chair for 2024, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? And I'll abstain as I was, nominated. So, okay. So the motion carries that, or the vote carries that member Frank will continue as chairperson. Okay. Next will be vice chair. Is there a nomination for vice chair?
I'll make a motion, Brian Bowman is vice chair.
Okay. Is there any other nominations for vice chair? Any other nominations for vice chair? Any other nominations for vice chair? Okay. Hearing no more nominations for vice chair, we'll have nominations cease and aye. Any abstaining?
Abstain.
Brian will abstain. So the nomination and vote carries for Brian to serve as vice chair in 2024. Okay, clerk. Are there any nominations? Any nominations for clerk?
We do have to have a clerk.
Yes, that's required by statute.
Does the clerk take minutes?
No,
Mhm.
that's done by Amy.
Amy does.
The
You
clerk
have to
will
sign.
need to sign.
You do sign. I'll nominate Greg.
Are there any other nominations? Sandy, did you have an interest in stepping into that role instead of
I
treasurer?
felt like treasurer. I
Okay,
don't mind doing that.
so I'm asking.
Unless you want to kick me on there, I don't care.
I don't want to kick you out of anywhere, but I just wanted to garner if you had interest or not, so. Any other nominations for clerk? Any other nominations for clerk? Okay, hearing no more nominations for clerk, we have one nomination of member Peppel. With that, we'll move to vote with the one nomination of member Peppel to serve as clerk. All in favor of member Peppel serving as clerk in 2024, say aye. Aye. Oppose? And abstaining? Greg's abstaining. So the motion carries to have member Peppel serve as clerk in 2024. Okay. Treasurer. Is there a nomination for treasurer?
I nominate Sandy if she wants to still do it, that'd be great.
I don't mind doing that.
Okay.
Saves Amy a lot of headache if I don't switch. Doesn't it?
It all works out.
Is there any other nominations for treasurer? Any other nominations for treasurer? Any other nominations? Okay, with that, we have, we'll have nominations cease for treasurer as we have one nominee and no further. So member Benson has been nominated for treasurer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All oppose? And abstain? Sandy, do you abstain from your
Oh,
nomination?
yeah, I do.
Okay.
Sure. I'm on to the next thing.
Yep, so with that, the motion carries that Sandy will, member Benson will serve as treasurer in 2024. Okay, thank you, everyone. All right, then let's move on now to item 6, our consent items. We just need one motion to approve the one consent item, and that's enclosure number 1 in our packet. Where is that enclosure? Did we miss it? It should be a resolution.
Yeah.
What are you looking for?
There should be a resolution for that we need to read and show.
She's gonna grab that.
So what was different on the one we had in our packet here than the one we got?
On enclosure 2,
Yeah,
so what is changed is this one, the one that was in the packet
yeah.
would have been a less than 90-day resolution.
Okay.
This one is the correct one because it's more than 90 days to the election time. So that's what changed on the enclosure number 2, just the one paragraph.
Okay.
So we'll pause here while we wait for that resolution.
Can we move on to that?
We could, we just
I could give just a quick update of,
MSBA, yeah, why don't you go ahead and do your superintendent report, Jim, and we'll come back to the consent items. That won't change anything.
no, it's a brief report, but I'll try to expand it out a little bit.
Yeah.
So Amy put together packets for each of us that are going to the MSBA conference. Everything should be done for us, and if you do notice on the envelope, if you do have any trouble checking in, give her a phone call on her cell phone that's on there. So the conference app, I went through the download process as it said. You have to download. It says 2024 MSBA Leadership Conference. Just look for MSBA Leadership Conference. Then you'll find the app, and then it says to look in your email on Friday, December 29th from around 11 a.m. for the instructions for your username and password to log into the app. I found it in my spam. Amy, did you ever find yours? So Amy never even saw hers. So if you can't find it, just give me a call or an email and I'll get you set up.
I assume you only have access to the conference app if you're attending the conference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we won't get.
We shouldn't get access to the app.
'Cause
You're not going?
I won't, I can't.
Okay. All right.
I started, hang on.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. Anything else on your report, Jim?
No,
Great.
that's basically it. If we do the app and you can't get in, give me a text.
Okay. All right, let's go back to our consent items. I have the resolution now sitting in front of me. So, okay, I will need a member to state their name. So member Peppo, move the following resolution. A resolution delegating authority to make electronic funds transfers to a designated business administrator. Whereas Minnesota statute section 471.38 claims authorize school districts to use electronic transfers of checks, drafts, or similar negotiable instruments. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. The school board hereby delegates the authority to the following school business administrators to make electronic fund transfers for the period January 1st, 2023 through December 31st. Should that be 2024? Yes, that should be 2024. So let me reread that. The school board hereby delegates the authority to the following school business administrators to make electronic fund transfers for the period January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024. First one would be Amy Schmidt, business manager, dated January 3rd, 2024. The second is James Menton, superintendent, dated January 3rd, 2024. It is hereby certified that the Rhode Island Olivia Lake Lillian Public School duly adopted this resolution at duly convened meeting held on January 3rd, 2024. Member Sheehan seconded the motion to approve the resolution, and upon a vote being taken therein, the following voted in favor. So we have to do this by roll call vote. Member Sheehan?
Aye.
Member Benson?
Aye.
Member Bowen?
Aye.
Member Pepple?
Aye.
And member Frank is an aye as well. No one is absent, and this resolution was declared adopted today, January 3rd, 2024. Okay. So we've already done the superintendent report as we were waiting for that. So now we're moving on to section 8, our business. So item 1 would be to set our school board meeting dates, time and location for the 2024 calendar year. So I'll need a motion to approve the fourth Monday of each month at 7:00 p.m., except for December 2024. It will be held on the third Monday, December 16th, 2024. All meetings will be held in the district office in Olivia unless otherwise posted. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved by member Sheehan and seconded by member Benson to set our school board meeting date at the fourth Monday of each month at 7:00 p.m. except for December 2024. It will be held on the third Monday, December 16th, 2024. at 7:00 PM. And is there any discussion? Any discussion on the motion to approve the time, location, and dates of the 2024 board meetings, general meetings? Any discussion? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move to vote on setting the school board meetings for the upcoming year as the fourth Monday of each month at 7:00 PM, except for the December meeting, which will be held the third Monday, December 16th, 2024. And they'll all be held here in the district office in Olivia unless otherwise posted. So we'll vote on that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries to hold the meetings on the fourth Monday of each month, except for the December one, which will be on the 16th of December, 2024 at 7:00 here in the district office unless otherwise posted. Okay. Second item would be to designate the district's legal counsel as Squires, Waldsberger, and Mace, PA, and designate the chairperson and superintendent as authorized contacts. This is an action item, so we will need a motion in a second. Okay, Bowen? Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by member Bowen and seconded by member Peppel to designate the legal counsel for the district as Squires, Waldsberger, and Mace, PA, and designate the chairperson and superintendent as authorized contacts. Is there any discussion?
I got a quick question. Are these the ones that we've used in the past?
Yep, they changed the name.
I was
It
gonna
was
say, that was not,
Todd Rupp was the main dude,
okay,
and he is retired, and now it's the same company, just different
different name,
names.
Yeah.
okay. And these guys are out of where? Is it Wilmer, isn't it?
No, they're out of the cities.
Cities?
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Okay, hearing no more discussion, we'll move to vote on the motion to designate the legal counsel for the district as Squires, Waldsberger, and Mace, PA, and designate the chairperson and superintendent as authorized contacts. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries to designate the legal counsel for the district as Squires, Waldsberger, and Mace, PA, and designate the chairperson and superintendent as authorized contacts. Hey, item 3 under business. That's to establish our board compensation for attending board meetings. So from January 1st of 2024 through the 31st of December of 2024, it would be $50 per board member per regular and special board meetings, and $50 for half-day and $100 for full-day negotiations meetings, and then also $100 for all-day seminars, which I believe would also include the MSBA.
Yes, yep.
Yep. And then compensation will not be paid for meet and confer meetings, policy review meetings, interviews, etc. So is there a motion?
Make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved by member Sheehan and seconded by member Bowen to establish the board compensation for attending board meetings for calendar year 2024 at $50 per board member per regular and special board meetings, and $50 for half-day and $100 for full-day negotiation meetings, and $100 for all-day seminars. Is there any discussion?
I think we need to move this up. Move it, raise it a little bit.
Raise the value.
Absolutely, because with the way things are going, the expenses of everything, I mean, we spend a lot of time on these board packets, number one. And when you go to these places, you have to take a day of vacation, you lose out on a lot. So I realistically think this needs to be changed.
So do you want to make an amendment to strike and put in different dollar amounts, Sandy?
I would,
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know. Does anybody else feel the same way I do, or?
Yeah, I guess I don't really keep track of it all that much, so. I understand what you're saying completely. I guess I haven't thought about it.
Well, the hard part is, people that own their own business, you don't have to worry about taking off and taking PTO.
Yeah.
You do, I do, well,
I
You do too. I mean,
No, I get it.
we put a lot into this. And I spent a lot of time on my packets, going through them and checking on things, and it's probably why I ask a lot of questions. But I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, and I think we really do need to up it. Just to be fair to everybody. I mean, owning a business, it makes it different, but those of us that actually have to use our PTO takes a lot away from us.
We love to not up things, and then what happens is you have to then make a huge jump at some point.
We haven't for a
And
couple of years.
yeah, this has been, I think, the same since I've been here. But,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm always pushing to increase fees by $1 or $2 per year, just so you never have to hit that. Well, activities fees are going to double.
right.
Nobody ever wants that. So I'm always in favor of just increasing a little bit per year. It has been a while since this has been looked at, so.
So, yeah, whatever, yeah. What are you thinking?
I feel like we should go 100 per meeting and then 150 per day or 200 per day or whatever. If you do a whole day and,
Does anybody know any other school districts, what they compensate? Out of curiosity.
I would have to go look and see what,
I do,
I just was curious if anybody knew. Oh, you do?
well, it's down in the cities, but my sister's on the school board in the cities. And they get like $250 every meeting they go to. And then they get, that's for the regular meetings, 250. And then if they go, and I can't remember what she said for conferences, but I know that was quite a bit more too. But that's in the cities. But
Sure.
you kind of weigh that. But to get people on the board nowadays, to get people to come to do these things, because it's not an easy job. It's a thankless job. Telling you people, and it's a thankless job. But I mean, to do it, to maybe have to up it, to pay people to take the opportunity to get on the board. I don't know.
$100, I don't think is out of line. Like Jim's theory is just maybe going up a little bit a year,
Right.
increasing it.
If you did it $5 or $10 a year, you'd always be in
Oh,
line with something.
To get it to a place and then start with your little bits.
so I'll ask Amy, where do we sit at from a budgetary stand? If Sandy suggested potentially double of what's printed here, would we be able to, is that within the budget to handle, I assume?
It's not a significant impact at all.
It ain't good.
I didn't think it would be with the, when you look at the overall operating budget of the district. So, okay, so we had some discussion here on upping it. There's a motion on the table to keep it at 50, so we'll need to do an amendment to change the amounts. So I'll need someone to propose an amendment and second that.
Are you looking at doubling everything?
Well, I would say do $100 per board meeting and then 200 when you go for a whole day down there, because you do have to take a whole day of vacation when you go. Oh. I mean, we gave raises to everybody else, I guess.
That's true.
I guess I'm not looking at it that way. I'm looking at it like Jim said, it's something where I know when I first started, and that was probably 10 years ago because I had 2 years off in the middle of it. This was one of the first things that we did, and we raised it some at that time to get to these numbers. So it's probably been about 10 years since it's changed.
Because you,
And if you went $5 a year, that's your $50 for your board meeting. I mean, it makes sense. I'm not for it or against it one way or the other, because like you said, I'm in a different situation than you are. If I need to take the time, then I just have to
You just
take
go.
the time.
Todd, how do you feel?
I agree 100% with you. I mean, like, I'm in a different situation than what you guys are, but at sales time, even though we own our business and we're gone, it affects us some in other ways where we have to.
Somebody's gotta do the job, so you gotta pay somebody extra to do that.
So I don't think it's,
I just don't make money if I had gone. So I lose whatever I would have done in a day. But I don't think we're gonna pay each other that.
Greg?
I don't think what you're proposing is out of line. I mean, I think it's realistic. Anecdotally, I had heard, and I can't confirm it, another gentleman I know, I think was around $150 that we're getting per board meeting. That was over in RC, or Remnant County West, but I can't confirm that. I hate to even say it, but because I don't have for sure numbers on that, but that's what.
Is it something we can address at the next meeting and just get numbers, just so we have an idea? Or I'm fine with we do it, we just be done with it, we're done with it. I don't
I'd
think it's out
rather
of
be done
hand.
with it, because then when they
Yeah.
go in January, it's done.
It's certainly
starts
easier for
January.
Amy to.
Start it right away.
Yeah.
Back track if we.
So you're saying double all of them,
Yep,
So-
100, and
100
then
for half days?
So
Yeah.
you're amending the motion to state that $100, we
per board meeting.
strike $50 and change it to $100 per board member per regular and special. Strike 50 for a half day and replace that with 100,
100
and strike 100 and replace
with 200
for full
for
day.
a full day
and-
down
and-
there.
Yep, with 200 for full day negotiations and 200 for all day seminars.
Yep.
Okay, so Sandy has made the amendment. Is there a second to the amendment?
I'll second it.
Okay, hold on, I gotta get this so I make sure when I read it, I'm reading it correctly. Okay, so it's been, the motion has been amended by member Benson and seconded by member Sheehan to state that the compensation rate will be $100 per board member per regular and special board meetings, and $100 for half day, and $200 for full day negotiation meetings, and $200 for all day seminars.
Yeah.
Okay, any further discussion on the amendment? Any discussion on the amendment? Okay, so we are gonna vote on the amendment, which changes the numbers. And then we'll have to go back and then we vote on the main motion after that, which will be changed with assuming the amendment's passed. Okay, so all in favor of the amended values to the board compensation, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Okay, the amendment carries. So the main motion now says that board compensation from January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024 will be $100 per board member for regular and special board meetings, and $100 for half day, and $200 for full day negotiation meetings, and $200 for all day seminars. Okay, any discussion on the main motion that's been amended? Any discussion? Okay, now we'll vote on that main motion that's been amended. So all in favor of the amended values to the main motion, say aye. Aye. Oppose? The main motion carries that compensation will be $100 per board member per regular and special board meetings, and $100 for half day, and $200 for full day negotiations meetings, and $200 for all day seminars for the time period of January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024. That is passed. Okay. Item 4, excuse me. That's approving our 2024 standard IRS mileage rate of 67 cents per mile, effective January 1st, 2024. I will need a motion.
So moved, Benson.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by member Benson and seconded by member Peppel to approve the 2024 standard IRS mileage rate of 67 cents per mile effective January 1st, 2024. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Okay, hearing no discussion, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor to approve the 2024 standard IRS mileage rate of 67 cents per mile effective January 1st, 2024, say aye. Aye. Oppose? So the motion carries to approve the 2024 standard IRS mileage rate of 67 cents per mile effective January 1st, 2024. All right. So now we have our enclosure number 2, which is to appoint school board representatives and committees. So what we will do is I'll need a motion and then we'll go through and fill it out. And once we've filled it out, then we'll vote on that motion, okay? So is there a motion? Is there a motion to approve the,
So move Benson.
okay?
Sorry.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by member Benson and seconded by member Peppel to appoint school board representatives and committees. So any discussion? So our discussion will be filling this item, the school board committees out. So
Quick question before we start.
yes,
Okay, now we have 2 new members that are gonna be coming on. How are we gonna work that so they have the opportunity to maybe get on some of these committees also?
so my proposal is as we assign members, we put the vacated seat appointment in there as well. So for example, let's say we have appointed member Mary Doe, right? So Mary Doe, let me rephrase that. So we have, let's say the seat vacated by member Buchtel. We mark that down, for example, that the seat vacated, whoever's appointed to the seat vacated by member Buchtel, they go on, say, finance, negotiations, bold EA, pool committee, book review, I don't know what for. But
Okay.
you just put the vacated member's seat, vacated seat in, and then they would be assigned in whoever gets appointed. So when Mary Doe, as I said earlier, gets appointed at a future meeting for that seat to vacated member Jacobs, for example, then whoever that, where it said vacated seat for Jacobs is listed on the committees, that person would go in. Then
Could we relook at it, like after the
We-
fact?
we could.
We get our whole full board again and then go back and say, hey, this is where we're at and this is what we started with, but is there anything that you would really like to do? So they get on something that they probably are interested in, more than just getting appointed on something, because when you get appointed, it's kind of like you don't have really a choice.
Correct. So we could do it that way, or we could designate it ahead. I suspect there might be something where there's possibly where there was a conflict too for a
Right.
new appointed, and that would have to be addressed anyhow. So it would just make for bringing it up and having to do it at future meetings again.
Well,
And
we
we would
could
have
just do it at
some-
the next meeting, the end of January, because we're gonna know hopefully by then.
We can't do anything to put them on a committee until that 30 days pass.
They have to wait 30 days before they go on a committee.
Once the resolution's passed, there's
Oh.
30-day period that
Well, which
passes.
is fine.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think it really matters, but
I think if we start to talk about this, I think this is naturally going to fill itself in.
Yeah.
Because you can say, well, let's just leave this one blank and maybe. fill it
somebody
in
will
there.
be interested in it.
Yeah.
Because there may be things that you guys are doing that you don't want to do anymore too.
So I'm hearing that you just want to bring this back once an appointment becomes
I just want to
official
give them
and
a
they're sworn in,
choice.
and then
Yeah.
they can.
I just want to give the people that are coming on a choice to say, that works for me, it doesn't work for me, or I wouldn't mind being on this one instead, You know what I'm saying?
And then
I
we
mean,
switch potentially.
it gives them, yeah, more options, just instead of,
Can you elaborate for me as a new member? A number of members, some of them are 3, 2, 1, and then we have 4 delegate, we have several names.
So this would have been last year's, and
Yeah.
this did not, so the 2023 members does not mesh necessarily with the numbers. So the number of members are the number that I was proposing in Jim, when we built the agenda, we're proposing go on for 2024.
Okay.
Does that make sense to everybody? So if you look at the committees, there's several that are gonna go away. For example, the athletic/activity hearing committee, that's going away as a standalone. It's gonna be combined with the MSHSL. So essentially, our members on that committee are also gonna take on any potential athletic/activity hearings responsibilities. So it was trying to streamline our committees.
Yeah, we did that with a couple of them.
Yeah, it used to be kind of burdensome. There's all sorts of committees that never existed really.
You have a lot of committees.
And one example is, last year we had 3 members on the negotiations Bold EA committee. But last year was a negotiating year with Bold EA. Now this year's not, so we're proposing only 1 member for this year because that's a 2-year contract.
Yeah.
And-
We are gonna keep 3 though. We have a little typo here.
Yeah.
So 3 for both of the ASU groups. It says 1 right now, but
which is on the bottom of page 1, and the top of page 2 would be 3 instead.
so who made these choices to just change this?
It's a
The 3 to
proposal
1?
on how many members we assign.
Yeah.
That was just a thought. And that Jim and I, when we sat down and built the agenda, and that we thought might be appropriate number, we could, if, for example, we want 3, we can do 3 instead of 2. This was just a
Right.
proposal as we start to think about filling these in.
Well, I think some of the reason in the past why they did the 3 is because sometimes that one person can't show, so they still have 2.
Yeah.
If you only have 1 on there and something happens and you gotta do something, if that one person can't go, the meeting's off. You can't, So we proposed more people on there just to make sure we had enough people for the meeting. Like say the finance.
Yep.
Teresa and Tracy were on there. There's times that I couldn't go, but Teresa
Tracy.
and Tracy could, or Tracy wasn't there, but Teresa and I could, It's better to have more than less, and then if you got less, you don't have anybody to fall back on, if that makes sense.
Yep, it makes sense.
Perfect sense.
So,
That's why I think they did the 3. Not that we're gonna ever use them or need them or whatever, but it's best to have 3 and put them on there right away and say, hey, we got an alternate or whatever. That way you have enough.
so as we'll go through these, we'll discuss the number first, how many, and we'll decide that, and then we'll assign it. Does that sound like a go forward plan here?
Okay,
Do them independently, that sounds good.
Yep. All right, we ready to start then on page 1? Okay, facilities committee. So Jim and I were proposing 3 members again to sit on the facilities committee. Does everyone agree to 3 members?
yeah.
And, yeah, go ahead.
So then I was just gonna ask, who is interested in sitting in on facilities committee for this upcoming year?
Are these during the day?
Yeah, I think those are great. That's what I was gonna say too, especially for Greg, who hasn't been to these things.
Yeah.
When do these meetings usually happen?
Yes.
Because it can affect,
Do they have to be during the
They,
day?
they don't have to be during the day. With the facilities, it's happened quite a bit where that's just how it works out, where we can get the most people there. Especially because with the referendum planning we had to do a lot where we were bringing in people from Nexus that it made it a lot easier
And the
To get the
facilities
most people
committee
in.
is made up of community members as well, is that correct?
Yes,
Correct.
yeah, good point.
And I would assume that a lot of this upcoming year's facilities committee meetings would still be attended, and Nexus would be integral to a lot of those meetings. Is that a correct
Yeah,
assumption?
yes.
Yeah.
Now,
So again, we're gonna have a problem with people that work during the day, if these things are always during the day.
I would say there may be half during the day. What do you think, Todd?
Yeah, I would say it's good.
So in the evening, what time do they start in the evening?
Usually 6.
Yeah, 5,
How
6.
frequent?
But you had, actually, a lot of times we did them at like 5:30 or 6 because you
Mhm.
couldn't
And I
be
could
there, but now you can be there earlier, so.
I could be here by,
I will
4
say
o'clock.
for Amy's sake, she's here all day and
Yeah.
then sometimes ends up having to stay for a late committee meeting. I know she appreciates it. She won't admit it. But I know she
so
appreciates.
she has to, she's at all those meetings too, the
I,
facilities meetings?
I tell her she doesn't have to, but she still shows up.
I would guess that they would probably be meeting once a month for sure. With all the work coming up with the bid packages and everything else that's gonna be developed.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, probably.
Well,
We're kind of merging right now a little bit with the design team. But yeah,
I wouldn't mind being on it, and I could probably leave a little earlier from work, like 2 or something, if I knew what was happening. They already know I'm at the school board, so. But I could leave a little earlier.
And they're usually in the afternoon if they're during the day, is that correct? Or have they been in the morning yet?
it's been kind of across the board. We did a 9 o'clock, we had a 11 o'clock, we had a 1 or 1:30.
And later in the day. would be
And again,
better.
we're
After-
just, sometimes we have to do it just to get the most
Right, the most people
people
there.
there.
You gonna keep doing it, Tom?
Yes, I'll be on.
Okay, so member Sheehan,
I just don't think it works for me. It's gonna be an exciting group to be a part of, though.
Yeah, I
Yes.
wouldn't mind doing it, but. it would have
so
to
you're
be-
thinking at this point, no saying?
Well, I wouldn't mind it if I knew, there's no way 8, 9, 10 morning stuff is not gonna work. But if I could do it and cut my day off early, I could probably.
Well, it's not everyone's gonna be in the
Yeah,
morning,
there
so.
won't all.
So they're usually like an hour, or how long are they usually?
That's
To,
going forward after now, maybe it'll be shorter. I don't know, maybe it'll be.
Yeah, I think with the design team meetings, they want to really kind of move those along, and they did a pretty good job. We had an hour and a half meeting planned, and I think it went maybe an hour and 40 minutes.
I would say you just put Sandy on the list and
I'll
if
put
it
me
doesn't work out,
on,
it
and
doesn't
I
work out.
should do my best
When she
to,
can get there, she
yeah.
gets
That's
there.
what we ask is you do, yeah. Okay, so
I
Sam,
mean, she's got significant interest in it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing it.
There's no reason we can't have.
Yeah.
We post these meetings,
But well, go ahead.
they're public meetings, they're posted, so if we wanted to have more than 3, we could have more than 3. You could all be on a committee if you wanted. The whole point of a committee is to do the work that the entire board can't easily accomplish
and bring a recommendation to the
and bring a
board.
recommendation back, yeah.
But there's nothing to get, go ahead.
So you're.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'd be open to it as
Okay,
well.
so we've got members Sheehan, Benson, and
No,
Pepperell,
that's perfect.
and I think that's good.
So I have a question. If, say I have time and they have a meeting, can I just go to the meeting?
Yes.
Can I go just hang out and listen in? There's not like quorum rules or anything
Yeah.
against that if they're
Yeah,
meeting,
Just-
is there?
The meeting's
It's
been
all public.
posted in
All right.
public,
That's all
and
I'm
so
doing.
you're not breaking.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
went to a few and I sat in the audience
So
Just
that's,
listen.
yeah, that's perfect.
You're not part of the discussion.
and you're not making a decision and you're not influencing it, so. Okay. Ready to move on to finance? So Jim and I were thinking 2 members for finance committee for this upcoming year.
And again, we can keep it 3. I've been trying to do most of the finance stuff with the entire board. So,
Yeah, because we really haven't had a meeting for the
Not-
last couple
not
of years. We
really.
haven't even been called.
right, so, I mean, it's whatever we want.
But I think for us to have some input on that helps too. I mean, just to bring it to us and say, here it is, this is what we got.
Right.
We've not had any input for a couple of years, so really,
So
on that board, but it would be nice if we did and we could get together and do that.
So Sandy, I assume you would like to stay on
I
finance?
would if, yeah.
I'd be willing to step into finance because there's other ones that are not anymore. So I would be willing to go on that one. Should we leave it open potentially for one of the
Yeah.
new to be determined members?
Yeah.
For, yeah,
There's nothing wrong with that.
For
Yeah.
a third.
If you're interested, fine. If you're not, we got to.
We can always find someone else if we feel we need it there.
Right.
Okay. So we're good on finance? Okay, let's move on to meet and confer. So Jim and I were recommending potentially 2, and so this is typically a late afternoon, about 3:30 in the day meetings. There might only be 1 to 3 meetings in a year, maybe 4.
After hearing what Sandy was saying before, I kind of tending to agree that maybe we'll want to keep that 3, just in case somebody can't be at the meeting. Just,
Honestly, the meet and confer, I have really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
Because the teachers come in and the staff, and they come and you kind of have just a one-on-one back and forth with them, how things are going, what their thoughts are. I really enjoyed that one. Because you don't ever get that opportunity to just visit with them. So I do like that. I'll stay on
So
it.
you want to stay on?
Yeah, I certainly do.
I'll stay on it.
I've been on it this last year. I'm willing to stay on again. I'm also willing to step back and let one of the new board members, if they so choose. What do you,
Yeah,
should
When
we?
they do meet, it's, you
Yeah.
do kind of hear what's going on in the school
Yeah, and if,
from the teacher's perspective.
Yeah. and say if one of them doesn't have interest, I'd
go ahead.
potentially be willing to go. I won't right now, but potentially would be willing to be back on that one. But we'll leave that open with 2, but we want to try to get 3 on that at this point. Okay, next one will be the negotiations, old EA. So, as we mentioned earlier, this is a non-negotiating year. Jim and I were thinking 1, maybe we should assign 2 in case.
I mean, you could have an issue where we have to come up with a memorandum of understanding. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, but there's no harm in putting 3 on it.
The way I look at it, if you're on the committee, the good thing is you kind of get involved and I guess I felt like my job was to read the contract and feel like I understand what goes on and what it is. And you might not do anything for a year, but then you have, in your mind, you're thinking, I really need to read that so I know. And then the next time it comes up, you have that background in your head to say, hey, I've already read through it. I kind of know some things that maybe I think might want to look at changing or whatever. It gives you that time. And just saying that any normal person would go, yeah, I don't want to be on that. They're not going to look at that. They're not going to pay attention really to any of that until they really have to do it.
So
So,
last year you
Yeah,
were
I'll
on
stay
it,
on it.
Sandy, you'll want to be on again.
yeah, I didn't mind.
Is there interest by Brian, Greg, or Todd on the bold EA?
Odds are good that nothing's
Nothing's going to happen.
I'll go on.
Okay. And is this one then we want to leave
Yeah, why don't we
Leave
that?
open.
leave it open for one of the 2 outstanding seats? Okay, let's do that. So we have members Benson and Sheehan on the bold EA, and that we're targeting 3. but potentially with some new members. Okay, the Gold AFS CME, which the Paris Food Service and Admin Assistance, we want 3, as well as the Gold AFS CME Custodians. And I believe for both of those committees, we want the same 3.
I would recommend having the same 3.
It's
Yes.
easier.
So last year it was members Benson, Bowen, and Jacobs. And so that'll be a negotiating year for both of those contracts this year. So,
I'll stay on.
okay, so Sammy will be on both. And Brian, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I can do that.
And
Would you be interested in doing that, Greg? It's a good one, they're good groups to work with. It's,
I would be.
okay, so then we have members Benson, Bowen, and Pepper to serve on those 2 committees for this year. All right. The next one would be the Ag Advisory Committee / CTE, which is the Career Technical Education. This is a required committee for funding. There's essentially 4 meetings per year. They typically occur in the evening around 6-7 p.m. on a weekday. I served on it last year, and so did members Jacobs and Sheehan. I would like to be back on that one again this year.
Yeah, potentially too, with construction coming up, might be an interesting time out there.
Are you open to more? Because I would certainly be interested too.
We're open to more.
Okay.
Okay, so. All right, so we have members Frank, Sheehan, and Peppel on the Ag Advisory Committee / CTE. All right.
Sandy, you didn't get on that one.
I know, I looked at that, oh, God, I gotta stop volunteering.
I just wrote Benson and Linda.
I said, oh my goodness.
Squeezed it
I
out.
looked at the rest of them and went, oh, how many more did I volunteer for?
So anyhow,
I stopped.
let's keep moving. This is good. I don't want this. We know this is gonna be a longer meeting anyhow. So the athletic activity hearings, Jim and I propose that we combine that with the MSHSL committee, which is a little lower on the sheet, and set that at 2 members. So, and last year we had members Bowen and members Sheehan sit on the committee. So it would be simply maintaining 2 again.
Yep, that sounds good.
Are you both interested to stay on?
Yes.
Brian?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll leave that with members Bowen and Sheehan, and we're not having an athletic activity hearing, so, okay, that is done. The next committee item would be the book review committee, and so that was, last year was myself and member Jacobs, and that committee will not meet much unless there's something that happens along a book review is per policy and how that's all outlaid within our policies.
Yeah.
So I'd be willing to serve on that committee again.
In case there's a complaint.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
Get a book out of the library here.
Okay. I wasn't exactly sure the scope of what that meant, so.
so I would sit on that one. Anyone else, or do I want to leave that for an open member? We do need at least 2 members on that committee in the end.
Leave it open.
Let's see, we'll leave it open. Okay, so we'll leave that open.
No, Brian, I'm not volunteering.
I've already written your name.
Stop it.
Actually, we'll go back and I'll review this, but I'm gonna write just open.
Yeah.
In those slots where we're thinking one of the new members, so. But I'll review that when we go through, and you make sure that I've got my notes correct, please, when we go to vote on the committees, when I review them. Okay, next one would be the Community Education Advisory Committee. Again, that's a required committee for community service funding, 4 meetings per year max. I know they meet
Usually meet at noon.
at noon.
Yep.
I've never been at one of these. I don't think I've ever been at one of these.
Really?
Nobody invited me and I'm on here.
You didn't get invited?
I didn't
And I
get
didn't get
invited.
invited either this
I
last
think
year.
that, and I got
Yeah.
it, because I was on it before that, and I did get on it last year because I said I can't go to new meetings, I can't make
Yeah.
it to it.
And I can't either.
And then I
so-
still got messages, and then I sent it out and said, I can't make it, I'm not on this committee anymore.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I
and I
never
can
got it.
make a noon meeting, so I'll put my name down on that one.
Yeah, I can't. Take me off.
Okay.
Too far away.
Anyone else, or should we leave that for one of the open members? Does anyone else have interest? Okay, so I'll be myself and an open member at this point. So the next one would be the Fax Advisory Committee, so the Family and Consumer Sciences. And Penny Christie's the one who typically helps organize and run these meetings and sets the agenda. A lot of these have been via Zoom or WebEx or Teams or,
What is that? What?
so you're going through and they have community members on, so they're looking at for suggestions on curriculum changes or things to input and improve the FACS curriculum within the school district. And I served on it last year. I'll serve again. I enjoyed that. That was one where you're having, direct contact with staff as a board member and community members and getting to hear what the community direction is, or what they think the community direction should be for the curriculum in the district. Any other member?
When do they usually have their,
Those were in the late or mid-afternoon, if I remember, or it was like after school, so like 3:30 to
Yeah.
7 PM, somewhere in there typically they started. And I think there was, it is quarterly meetings essentially, so it's not a huge commitment. Should we leave it open for one of the other members?
Sounds good.
we could leave it for now, and if nobody wants it, then we'll see if we can,
Yeah.
if it's necessary.
Okay. Little Crow Telemedia, that goes away because Little Crow's telemedia has gone away.
Yep.
So we don't need any committee members on that. So then, we've already done the Minnesota State High School League because that's combined now with activity/athletic hearings. So the next one would be the Minnesota Rural Education Association, representation of the district, and we're members of the MREA. And so I was on it last year. We were thinking just one member, but we could do two. I wouldn't recommend more than two for that.
It's a strong group. They've done a lot of good for education, especially in rural Minnesota. They're a big reason why that Ag to School credit passed. Did you say you'd stay on?
I would stay on. Is there anyone else interested? Should we mark an open on there if someone's
Let's
interested?
mark it open. They do have a conference every year,
When is their conference?
usually about the second week in December. And I went to it years ago, when I was with a different district. And we had a couple board members went and a few teachers who went. It was a very good conference.
Is it more of an out-of-state conference?
Yeah,
Or is it in the
they did it at like, Cragun's, I think.
Breezy or somewhere up there?
Yeah, maybe it was Breezy. No, it was at Craig, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got myself on that and a potential open member to come on.
Yeah, no worries, I could jump on it if nobody else wants to get it then.
Yeah, and if somebody were interested in going to the conference, then you wouldn't have to be serving as the,
Committee,
yeah,
yeah.
so you could all
Must
go.
be gleaning information.
Yeah.
So the next one would be the CTE, the Career and Technical, and that's combined with Ag Advisory up above that we already assigned, so we won't have any committee assignments on that for this year. So the next one would be the Pairing and Sharing Committee, and that's a meet as needed. And last year we had members Benson, Frank, and Jacobs on it. We were thinking maybe one member. It's not an overly active committee. So
What is pairing and sharing?
be working, well,
Looking for ways to work with other districts. It's honestly, it's what principals and superintendents do. So, you know, for instance, we just, because of LCTN going away, we came up with an agreement for hosting the backup server for BLHS. We're gonna host that for them here, and they're gonna host one for us there. Doesn't cost us any money. So looking for ways to do things like that. Could be classes, could be other
When
opportunities.
you do that, that would be kind of nice to get an email and say, hey, this is what we're doing. So we kind of know what's happening with that stuff.
Yeah, actually, I just found out about it about a month ago, so
Yeah,
it was actually Neil that put that one together.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, just to like, hey, this is what we're doing. Little email just to fill us in, so.
You know.
I don't mind staying on there.
and I'm willing to stay on as well. So
That's fine.
Two's enough.
two's enough. Okay. So we'll make that two, and it'll be members Benson and Frank. Okay. The Wellness Committee. So this one, we were thinking to make a 0 and potentially go away because, right?
Yeah, I don't remember the conversation you and I had. I'm kind of embarrassed. We talked about it, and
I think that was just, if I recall, I think you said it was embedded within staff meetings.
we do that here through the school. So if somebody is interested in being a part of that, they're certainly more than welcome. But
I know I've been on it in the past, there's never been, I think it originally came up when they were talking about changing insurance policies, or you could save money if you did certain programs, or you got certain things going, but then the programs kind of fell apart before anything really happened, and so it didn't affect insurance, so then they really had a meeting reason to meet.
sure.
So knowing that information, what do you think? Jim,
I don't-
superintendent?
I don't feel that there's a need for a board representative on there.
No. If the teachers are they're having, or they want to do something health-wise, I think there's enough people in the community that would just jump in and help out with whatever
I 100% agree.
information they were trying to get.
And I assume the topics under there could essentially be covered back through the meet and confer committee?
Possibly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they would bring it to the meet and confer,
Yeah.
and you'd address it that way.
That'd be an interesting use of meet and confer.
Well, let's go away with that and make the wellness committee part of meet and confer. Is everyone in agreement to that?
Sure. Good.
I was just trying to think where that would fit within our existing committees, and that's what popped into my head as we were talking about it, what Brian said. Okay, Culture Committee, that's the next one. So last year it was members Benson, Johnson, and Frank on that committee. And it'd be meet as needed, and you would be a representative of the board as administration requires participation. And that's typically with staff too, is it not?
Yeah,
we've never had a meeting.
we never have met
I've
since.
never met since I've been on, I've probably been doing this so many years and I've never met one time.
Yeah, I can't think of, in 7 years, a time where we've met 7.5.
So could that also be part of meet and confer?
Well, that's what I was just thinking. Why don't we just kind of roll that in? You know, there's nothing that precludes us from
Recreating.
recreating something, saying, hey, you know
Yep.
what?
Committees should meet our needs and do what we
Well,
want.
right.
Okay, so let's, we'll have that one go away and that will be part of the meet and confer. And so then you would have three options of board members potentially to attend, you know, or if one can make it, or up to three would be available possibly if that's needed with culture. So, okay. Next would be the pool committee. So in the past, we've had two members and they've typically been on the facilities committee that have been on the pool committee. And then we have one member who's a substitute, designated substitute, and need to have two designated to attend. And so this last year, members Sheehan, Johnson, and were the two primary members, and member Jacobs was our sub on the pool committee. So I guess.
What do they meet, Todd, usually?
The times vary. It's usually mid to late afternoon. So Tracy does an excellent job keeping people notified, and it's because the city's involved too.
Yeah. It's usually at the city.
City Hall.
We've
City
had
Hall.
that there. Or we've met.
The last one I think was here.
The last one was here right by the pool entrance and
Yeah.
at a table there.
It's important that we have two people at that committee meeting because it's actually, a lot of these aren't actually really committees. But this is a committee, and if we didn't have anyone, we wouldn't have a quorum and
Nothing could
we
be
wouldn't be
done.
able to be meeting, so.
So
It's a good, there's a lot, school's got a lot of stuff going on, so it's a good group. Mine only is the time thing, if I can't be there, I don't wanna, cause it's for real, for real.
I will stay on.
So you'll stay on, Todd. So Sandy and Greg, you would be the other two members of the facilities.
When does that meet? Usually later, mid to late afternoon.
It's usually like 5:30, 6 o'clock.
I can make that one.
Okay.
Okay. And sub, and then sub does not have to be a facilities committee member, but it could be. So it could be, well, Brian, you said it wouldn't work for you, or typically wouldn't work for you.
If it's evening, I just don't, I don't wanna take a chance and be,
Here's what I think. I think we need to have a sub designated, but I think also if we can't get that sub there, I think
I
that
just need another body.
we need another board member there.
So I could put my name down as a sub. I'm going to do
Yeah, why
that.
don't you do that? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
So I'll be the sub then. So Sheehan and Pepper will be the main members and I'll be the sub. And we'll see what the new open are, and maybe we swap that out or don't for me as sub, but I'm willing to do that right now. So, okay, then the final committee would be the policy committee. And so
We started this last year around March, I think. And you know, every year, every 3 years, each of our policies are supposed to be reviewed. And we have, like, it just happens in districts, they get overlooked, and I'm really trying hard not to let that happen here. And so the thought is that get a couple people that would, when you find out that there's gonna be a policy coming up, just take a look through it. If you find something that you think is strange or could be improved, then bring that back to the board when we do a reading of the policy. In most cases, these policies are set forth by the MSBA, and they've been run through their attorneys. They've been tweaked to death, and you know, we're still welcome to make changes, but usually it makes sense to go with the expert attorney advice on how they were written. But sometimes also then we will hear from the state, like, you need to make these changes in a policy, so.
And I sat on that last year, and an example would be, you'll get the MSBA newsletter, and there, somewhere in the legislative part or other places, there'll be a little blurb about potential new policy or changes, and just going and looking at that and seeing what they're suggesting, or, and then, you know, do we have that policy currently or don't we? And seeing if it makes sense, you know. So I'd be willing to stay on that committee for this upcoming year as well. And it's, we could too, as a board, utilize the policy committee a little more by referring policies, and then it potentially could streamline the board meetings, you know, the time we're all here, but it'll take more time for the policy committee members, you know, to go through stuff too, to bring back up to the board.
My initial thought on this was going to be something more in the lines of, okay, next month, we're gonna have the first reading on policy 209. So why don't you or you two take a look at policy 209 and then report back if you feel there's something that needs to be modified or examined.
Change, yeah.
You know, sometimes we run into examples where you know, we've got one we're changing right now because it says insert your procedure here. That's what's written in the policy. It got overlooked. Sometimes it was overlooked because it's been in policy since 2004 and nobody said anything, and nobody really thought it was worth truly looking at. Sometimes, and I think quite often what can happen is they get edited, but then when they got put up onto the website, that correct version didn't get onto the website over time. So that could be another part of that person's, if you're assigned to that policy, just check it out.
I can be on there with them.
Okay, so members Frank and Bowen are in policy committee for this next year. All right, okay, so I'll just quick go through facilities. We have members Sheehan, Benson, and Peppel. Finance, we have members Benson, Frank, and Open. Meet and confer, we have members Benson, Bowen, and Open. Negotiations, bold EA, we have members Benson, Sheehan, and Open. The negotiations, bold AFSCME, paraprofessionals, food service, and administrative assistants, we have members Benson, Bowen, and Peppel. For the negotiations, bold AFCME custodians, we have members Benson, Bowen, and Peppel. For the Ag Advisory / CTE Committee, we have members Frank, Sheehan, and Peppel. For the book review, we have member Frank and Open. For the Community Education Advisory Committee, we have member Frank and Open. For the FACS, which is the Family and Consumer Science Advisory Committee, we have member Frank and Open.
Todd, hold on 1 second, if you don't mind.
Okay,
Is that okay? Can we put my name there too?
on which
For
one?
facts. For facts.
Yes.
I add my name.
Okay,
Sorry for interrupting.
nope, that's why I'm reviewing. So, going back to FACS, the Family and Consumer Science Advisory Committee, we have members Frank, Peppel, and Open. So that'll be a 3-member committee potentially. The next one would be the HSL / Athletics / Activity Hearings Committee, and that would be members Bowen and Sheehan. The next committee would be the MREA, that would be member Frank and Open. The next committee would be Pairing and Sharing, and that would be members Benson and Frank. And then we have the Pool Committee, which is members Sheehan and Peppel, with member Frank as a sub. And then the final committee is the Policy Committee, and we have members Frank and Bowen on that. So with that,
We've
we already
done
have
that.
we have the motion by Benson and second by Pepple on that.